And this is one of them. So the title of the video is called Pain Beats Up the SANNIN Badly, which is absolutely facts. Okay, I'm just putting this out there. Obito, Tachi, Pain, and Minato. Those four slam the SANNIN to oblivion. Unless it's like Jiraiya from fucking Boruto anime that's over here doing some 6-pass level shit scaling. They most definitely fucking slam, okay, the SANNIN. All three of them, bro. All that fucking once, alright? Like, at the end of the day, when it comes to people like Pain, Minato, Itachi, Obito, you know, people along with that within that class, or especially even people like Hashirama and Madara, now with the fact that with all the evidence that we have ever since the new Minato one-shot manga, to where you can even argue fucking Itachi or fucking, Minato, or even somebody like Pain, okay, is apparently getting along the levels, or at least close to somebody like Hashirama and Madara. That is absolutely ridiculous at this point. Okay, they're really fucking powerful. We've seen Itachi in the Akatsuki, technically sick as well, but he was, I guess you could say, still prime. We don't really know how far the sickness was. We don't have anything for that. We just know that he had a sickness and he was prolonging his life while in the Akatsuki with some medications, and that's about it. So when it comes to it, Itachi, while technically not fully at prime, but kind of close to it, literally destroyed Orochimaru, which is Genjutsu. Okay, just absolutely fucking destroyed his bitch ass. So Orochimaru was arrogant. Okay, he thought he could just look Itachi dead in his fucking eyes and not suffer any fucking consequences. He tried to pull a Minato to Obito, okay, during the Nine Tails incident, and it completely fucking backfired. Okay, so, and he got destroyed. Pain, on the other hand, we've actually seen an interaction between Pain and Orochimaru. Not in the anime, well, technically it's anime, but it was never in the manga, but it was in one of the games. Okay, it's in one of the Naruto Ninja Storm games. I think it's called Naruto Revolutions Ninja Storm, something along those lines. Bottom line is, there's actually plenty and abundance amount of evidence to even argue that game is also canon because Kishimoto supervised it, etc. The whole nine. I'm not gonna get into that. It's not the point of this video. But either way, we actually see Pain fight Orochimaru. Okay, Pain and Sasori were hired to go recruit Orochimaru for the Akatsuki, basically, in a sense. And then basically they go, you know, they approach Orochimaru. Orochimaru's like, nah, fuck that, I don't want to really join or whatever. Sasori's like, nah, I'm gonna make you, bitch. They fight. It's basically a draw, but the outcome was kind of initiated that Orochimaru beats Sasori. And then Orochimaru's like, fuck you, Sasori, I don't care about you. You're fodder in comparison to what I actually want. That Rinnegan, I need it. He charges at Pain at full speed, and Pain just does one Shino Tensei and completely folds him and no-diffs him. So not only Pain just no-diffs Orochimaru, but Itachi also no-diffed him. And then when you have people like Minato, there's several statements, there are several like narrative implications. I can go on and on and on to where Minato is always above even the likes of Orochimaru. Minato was just, on so many levels, just way, way ahead of Orochimaru in comparison. Okay? So when we're talking about these guys, they're no fucking joke. Okay? And that's like basically what we know for sure. Definitively what we know for sure. Like con-fucking-cretely, the SANNIN unfortunately can't fuck with that level of scaling. It's that fucking simple. And that's kind of what you have. As for everything else is all just possibility, territory, or interpretations, etc., the whole nine. And you no matter what, it doesn't matter. You could always play devil's advocate. You could always argue in favor for the SANNIN, however you want to fucking do. But no matter what, when we truly analyze all the evidence that we have, unfortunately, the SANNIN just can't fuck with that. They can't. You know what I mean? Like, the best stuff that we have in favor for the SANNIN is literally the performance and feats that Sage Mode Jiraiya does against the Path of Pains, 3 of them at least, and also base Jiraiya fighting 1 Path of Pain. But when you actually analyze that as an overall whole, it's really fucking bad, okay? Literally, like, Jiraiya and base is literally basically stalemating 1 Path of Pain, the summoning, for the most part, and then basically just can't do anything, okay? And it's like, you know what? If I keep going at this rate with this fight, I'm gonna lose. So let me just, activate Sage Mode, okay? Gets into Sage Mode. Now the Path of Pain concedes, and he's like, yeah, just in case, you know what I mean? I could probably still fight him, but just in case I don't want to get bitched, let me summon 2 Paths of Pains and get this Link Vision and fucking shit on this guy, okay? And then literally, he does that. Now it's 3 against 1. Okay, well, technically 3 against 3 because Mom Paul's on Jiraiya's shoulders. and Jiraiya still has summonings. But anyways, bottom line is they start fighting again. Jiraiya can't do shit. Pain is just literally talking his shit and just effortlessly beating his ass, and forces Sage Mode Jiraiya, mind you, to concede the fight. Jiraiya says his own words, verbatim, "If I continue to fight him in Sage Mode, I will be killed." So he has to run away like a little bitch and strategize, basically. And Paul gives Jiraiya the idea that you should use Genjutsu to catch him off guard, because he knows basically everything about you, and he would never expect you to utilize Genjutsu against him. That can be able to deal with the Link Vision and also give you an opening, and therefore you should be able to defeat Pain. That's what he does. It works. He does it. They're dead. Jiraiya thinks he's won the fight, whatever. He's like, all right, Mom, Paul, you can go home, whatever. Ma goes home, whatever. Paul's still on Jiraiya's shoulders and whatnot. He's still in Sage Mode. The Osteopath comes up behind him, and he's like, hey, bitch, you thought the fight was over? Didn't you teach me never to let your guard down, Jiraiya-sensei? Jiraiya's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And then he turns around, and Jiraiya, and literally, I kid you not, like, Jiraiya gets slammed through the wall, his arm ripped off, and Jiraiya's like, what the fuck is going on? And now it's on pure adrenaline mode. Paul's like, Jiraiya, boy, are you okay? Freaking out. It goes from there, and then Jiraiya just gets slammed. He just gets absolutely slammed once all passive pains are brought upon him, and that's it. So no matter what, if we're really just going to sit here and really contemplate the idea that the Sannin could somehow, some way beat people like Itachi, Pain, Obito, and Minato, you're just on crack, bro. You know what I mean? Like you're just living in some verse, apparently, where you truly love the Sannin that much. Once again, the only argument you can have for the Sannin is either you're utilizing some rat arguments or sophist tactics, or if you're doing the Boruto anime, you know what I mean? And basically saying, oh, Jiraiya scales to fucking 6 pass level people, therefore speed blitz, one shot, GG, right? Okay, cool. You know what I mean? So that's basically all the best scaling that the fucking Sannin have. And if anything, technically that only applies to Jiraiya, because Sanadi and Orochimaru can never, ever get mental amps to that degree to be 6 pass level fucking scaling, okay? So that's basically what you're working with. Enough talk with me. That's going to be my introduction of this topic and my thoughts overall. And obviously, I'm just going to state this for the millionth time. Unless I'm doing a production video for these Naruto topics, my ideas and my current thoughts and knowledge, etc., could possibly change. And unless I do a production video, that's for sure what I actually feel and think for the particular topic right there and then. Whenever I'm doing reaction videos, it's just me going off my memory, going off my current knowledge, and doing the best that I can, and being completely transparent as much as possibly as I can. That's basically that. So I don't want to make anybody butthurt or piss anybody off. I'm just putting that out there, and we're gonna get into this video. Obito just says Pain would have performed better than Sasuke at the summit, so Pain greater than Danzo fights. Interesting. I actually don't remember that statement, but you know, that would not surprise me, and I believe you. So that really wouldn't surprise me. What I do remember what Obito said with Sasuke is that, like, oh, you know, you're kind of being trash, bro. Like, I expect you to have some fucking hostages. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, but that's what I kind of remember. But I'm pretty sure if I was doing a production video, you know, I'd know, and I'd pull that through even as further evidence for why Pain would just, you know, he's just a monster. And let's be real, if Pain went to the 5 Summit, he would absolutely slam them all. So, Danzo would be the only one that would be still alive due to his Izanagi hacks, but Danzo would also get bitched as well. But anyway, so we're going to get into it, guys. Hope you're excited. Let's get it. And before we actually get into it, I need to have my headphones in so I can fucking hear this shenanigans. And let's do it. Here we goes. And if you guys don't know who 6 is, you're slacking. Where you been all this time? You guys sure know who 6 is by now. Make sure to check out his YouTube. You know the vibes. If you like the content, fuck with it. Give him all the love, like, comment, subscribe. There's plenty of Naruto content. And eventually, and here and there, he branches off into different territories of content as well. I've also streamed with him many times. I've talked with him many times. You name it, the whole 9, etc. So let's get it.
So this intro is being recorded after the fact because of some audio problems, but Thunder God is on the video, so obviously go subscribe to him. He'll be linked down below.
Okay, we got Thunder God here, bet.
The fight we went over was Jiraiya won't have intel on Pain since he died in the fight with Pain. We took Orochimaru from part 1, so he obviously has no intel on Pain. And Tsunade will have her intel since she'll be herself from the Madara fight, so she can pass any intel on to Jiraiya and Orochimaru as the fight goes on. Pain will be as close to Nagato as he needs to be to use his full ability kit like Chibaku Tensei and whatnot. The first thing we're going to go over is Pain's statement about Jiraiya saying he probably couldn't have won without his secret. Thunder God has his interpretation of that statement, and so do I. So he's going to start with his, and then I'll give my interpretation. But before that, we have a word.
Now, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say this real quick. This is really interesting for the video being this fucking long. Because I'm gonna be honest, for this particular topic, Jiraiya versus or Pain versus a SANNIN, it should be like a 10-minute video at max. You know what I mean? Or 10 to 5 minutes minimum. Highball or max 15-20 minutes flat. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think this shit should have took almost 40 fucking minutes to deduce the conclusion that Pain slams. Because let's be real, Six of Thunder God are more than likely gonna say Pain slams. Well, actually, it's in the fucking title. What am I talking about? It was in the title of fucking Six's thumbnail. You know, that they lose badly. So the fact that they're over here just talking about almost 40 minutes of how bad the SANNIN gets slammed, it's really funny that the video was even that long, but we're going to hear it out. Maybe there might be some devil's advocate as well in the video, but let's get it.
From our sponsor. Step into the world of Raid Shadow Legends, the mobile game turning your device into an epic battleground. Stunning community of over 4.
I'm joking. They're just doing business.
You might think you know Snapchat, but do you really? Here's three
do I
things
know
that
Snapchat?
you might not know about
You let me know.
Snapchat ads.
Yeah, fuck you, bitch.
To get started, I've been talking for a minute. We're gonna talk about the Jiraiya, like, oh, Pain says he could have beat me statement. Thunder God has his, interpretation of it. I have mine. They both come to sort of the same conclusion, but yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, so I always.
Hey, shout out to TG. Hey, you guys, I'll make sure to put his YouTube in the description down below. Either their names will be in the title of the video, or what's it called? It'll be in the description down below. So.
Interpreted that statement. You can interpret it a number of ways. I feel like
a fun fact. I'll also put the stream or the video stream link for my YouTube. But I also did stream with TG as well. That was pretty good. We had a lot of fun. We talked about it, all kinds of things. You name it. Interviewed him. It was really awesome. So.
Line that like nobody believes is that Jiraiya would have just beat full powered Pain, or like if all the paths of Pain were there, just based on how he just lost against 3 of them. I always interpreted that statement as he was going to eventually find Nagato, or just like reach the main body, since that's the kind of secret Nagato was trying to protect, even against Naruto. He's like, oh, you finally found me out. Yeah. You lead village, Shinobi are smart, and kind of like throws a little like throwback to Jiraiya as well. So it's I've always been in the interpretation.
Hey, that's a reasonable interpretation. Nothing wrong with that. All right.
Like that was more so like discussing like him finding Nagato or the main body, which isn't defenseless, but just isn't as like invulnerable, or like isn't like
And chat, feel free to ever give your thoughts in these videos, you name it, etc. By the way,
or contraption that can be damaged. It's his actual body. So yeah.
Yeah, and so my interpretation of it has always been that it's more so Pain talking about, because he mentions the secret that they have, right? And I think that the secret that he's talking about is the fact that he had 3 more bodies that weren't on the battlefield. So if all 3 bodies were there, or all 6 bodies rather, sorry, the other 3 were there with Pain whenever he fought Jiraiya the first time, and Jiraiya used Frog Song, which completely caught Pain off guard, then Pain would just be done, because all 6 bodies would have been caught, and then Jiraiya would have just destroyed every single path.
That's also a fair interpretation and very, very extremely reasonable.
I think that that's probably fair. I think it's way more fair than saying that Jiraiya could just beat Pain, especially since during the fight with Pain, Jiraiya was literally saying that, well, if it keeps up like this against these 3, the 3.
Well, what do you know? They're bringing up exactly what I said in the beginning of the intro of the video.
Non-combative paths, to say the least. If it keeps going on this way, I'm probably gonna die. And then you got the whole Naruto's whole narrative in the Pain arc is sort of just to surpass Jiraiya. That's stated a couple times. He's learning Sage Mode to beat an opponent that Jiraiya couldn't beat. So I think it just makes much more sense that Jiraiya just had that big hacks. Maybe he could have won, like pulled out a lucky victory, rather than actually beating on Pain. So then I get there's another thing. This stuff is sort of annoying to have to go over, but it's necessary because some people think that this can't even be a discussion for certain things or another. And it's the SANNIN versus 5 Kage comparison. So we went through this because we were like, yeah, this is kind of an annoyance. It gets in the way. we went through this and we ran the translations through ChatGPT, and specifically ChatGPT 4. It's like more advanced AI or whatever, to translate the scan. The scan comes from Fanbook 2, and it's talking about how the SANNIN and the Gokage are like comparable or whatever. I've used it in videos before. I don't know if you used it ever in videos.
I've used it in like one video where I discussed the SANNIN versus the 5 Kage. Unironically, as we're doing right now, so it's funny. But yeah.
So one thing about the statement that people don't really bring up is that it's another one of those like prime here's in.
Bro, the amount of anime they got in this shit, bro, is hilarious. And because I'll tell you right now, if I were to do that same shit, I'm getting fucking flagged, bro, immediately with copyright. I can't show no fucking anime.
Mutation-y statements where it brings up the fact that it said that they were that strong, not that they actually are. And if it's more of a reputation thing, then that kind of like brings into question how valid it is at this point in time, because not only have the 5 Kage changed since the SANNIN were like active in fighting, you got Tsunade's the Hokage now, and that's another complication we'll get to in a minute. You got Tsunade's the Hokage now, Gaara's the Kazekage, the Raikage's gotten stronger over time because of like fear.
Do you want a satisfying, remote-friendly job that pays well? Become a software engineer.
I already got one.
The Akatsuki or something like that. It's like, if it's reputation based, like who's making the reputation, what are they basing it off of? And Tsunade is a part of both teams here, right? Seemingly, unless you think it's talking about like the 5 Kage, including Danzo. Tsunade is a part of both teams, so does it mean the other 4 Kage can't make up the difference for 2 SANNIN? And I don't really know about that.
Yeah, I'll say this too, as far as like the reputation, it also doesn't help that the SANNIN like are most known for like when they initiate the 3-way deadlock. So you could even make the case like them fighting alongside their 3 main summons is what gives off like this impression that, oh, these guys could beat the 5 Kage, or like, if a random shinobi just saw this from like, watching a battle from afar. It's definitely, so when looking at these like kind of lore based statements, you can run with them. Like, I won't just outright say, oh, you can't use them, but I do think like context is important, and you do want to tackle it with a degree of skepticism. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's literally like a vague statement.
Yeah, spitting absolute facts. Absolutely. That's what any statement to begin with, though. Like, it don't matter what the fucking statement is. You always got to have some form of skepticism, especially if there could be contradictions, or better yet, just blatant, like a blatant amount of context that could, basically come to conclusion of like what's actually valid when it comes to basically what the statement is being interpreted of saying, or what the notion really comes out to, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that simple.
From a point in time you don't know of, you have to attack it with at least a little bit of skepticism.
Yeah.
How much you think skepticism is valid for the statement is gonna be up to you. But at least what Thunder God said, like, oh, consider the 3-way deadlock, considering what 5 Kage there were at the time. Taking those things into consideration is probably just the best way to go about it, rather than just taking the statement, prima facie at face value, blah blah blah. Then there's like, the SANNIN, when they fight together, they get 3 times stronger, and I'm gonna go ahead and admit I was just wrong on this. Like I said it before, I was just wrong. This is one of those examples of things where it's like, it was told to me, I read the scan, I was like, oh yeah, that kind of checks out. And then like I actually read the scan, and it's just not what it says. Like, that's just blatantly not what the scan says. So I'll read the scan.
Okay.
I believe this one comes from the second fan book as well, or the second data book. But it says, during fights, their skills would increase 3-fold and create stories of great battlefield deeds. It's basically talking about the fact that whenever
their skills and jutsus, you name it, in combination, yeah, that would make sense. It doesn't mean they're fucking stats.
Nade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru fought together, they would grow their skills 3-fold whenever they like
that makes
enter a
sense.
battle or something like that. So not only does it say skills, not strength, it's not talking about, oh, when they fight together they get 3 times stronger. It's in the past, whenever they would fight, like in wars and whatnot, each battle would increase.
And the only way that statement could even get along that direction, which there's no way because it clearly says skills and not stats or strengths or power, okay, is the fact that, like, if I guess all 3 of them together and they get like some form of like team mental amp, you know what I mean? And then now they get 3 times stronger, because that's another thing too. Your stats just can't miraculously fucking grow. out of fucking nowhere. You need to either be a Jinjuriki for that, or you need to have like a curse mark or sage mode, things like that, or some jutsu to amplify your stats. You know what I mean? So that's just fucking outrageous. You know what I mean? Or you would need a mental amp. You know? So yeah, absolutely. It just doesn't make any sense.
Their skills by threefold. But yeah, I mean, I said that in my video with Swag when we did Sage Naruto versus the SANNIN. I've said that statement a few times now.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I've mentioned it. And you know, it's one of those things, like, it just gets passed around. You hear it and you're like, oh, that's facts, and then you read it and you're like, bro, who told me this? Who do I gotta look at and smack? You know what I mean? So, and I will say, you know, skills could, like, in my opinion, like, it could translate into teamwork. Potentially, like, their arsenals, like their combo moves. Could be like a Storm Ultimate type of thing, you know, so it is a little vague, but like it could add to like maybe that narrative with like the 5 Kage, you know, maybe their teamwork allows them to kind of like rival the 5 Kage as a group, or the Gokage, however you want to interpret that.
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to talk about, like the SANNIN versus the 5 Kage. Like the 5 Kage, up until the Madara fight, they were not working together well as a team. So I mean, you throw like these 5 guys who don't like each other essentially up against these 3 like teamwork gods. Okay, maybe they actually can, you know, do some damage. Then there's like this other statement. This is another one that I've like misquoted in the past just due to mistranslations.
Now I'm gonna say this really quick though. The Raikage is the only guy that none of the SANNIN are fucking with though. Like, I'm sorry, like you basically would have to argue that the SANNIN are KCM 1 level in power and stats. Like, good luck with that. You know what I mean? Or that the reaction, at least bare minimum, is KCM 1 level. And I don't know about that one, Chief. Or at least Yellow Flash level. Like, that's a little bit of a stretch. And most importantly, like, the only one that I could see that could potentially, maybe, be getting to that level, which is still a very high stretch, and once again, extremely hard to fucking prove, is if Sageman Jiraiya was getting there, or if Tsunade with 100 heals or some shit, you know. But once again, like, it's just, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, when it comes to the 5 Kage, they're mainly gonna get fucking shitted on because of the Raikage, especially if Inoki does like that fucking speed increase with him, bro. Oh hell no, they're getting fucking speed blitzed in one shot. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even a discussion at that point, you know. So I will say this: the SANNIN, their teamwork is greatly very impressive. It would definitely tremendously be better. But if someone is just way more powerful and faster than you, it doesn't matter about teamwork at that point. And most importantly, it really doesn't take that much of a genius to be like, you know, for Inoki especially, because it's just in character for him to do it. You know, where he's like, hey, Raikage, you want to just speed blitz and kill them all? Let me just give you more speed, brother. And he's like, I don't know, but sure, fuck it. You know, and he does it, and then there, you know. Or even if that didn't happen, if there's a KCM 1 level threat on the battlefield charging at them, and other 4 Kage level people, what the fuck do they do, bro? You know, like, it's going to be really hard. Like, the only way I could ever see something like somehow, some way even happening in favor for the SANNIN is if Orochimaru is bringing Edo Tenseis in this bitch. You know what I mean? That is the only way I could see some shit happening, you know?
Whatnot. I mean, at some point, at some level, you know, you kind of can't blame me. There's been bad translations out there. I mean, that's just,
we're human.
Yeah,
we do like, it happens. Like, what do you want? Like, you know, like, mistakes happen. You know, like, translations that like everybody accepts. We've accepted from time to time. So it's like, you know, I'm a big Why
like,
is
there numbers
for that? Like, as time goes on, you know, maybe some translations that were accepted at a time, you know, they're not accepted later on. It happens. Yeah. You know, we're human.
Meta's change, and you know, it's just like, okay, well, we got access to this new tool, ChatGPT. It can give unbiased, context-filled translations. So let's run it through that.
Yeah.
So this one comes from the 1 Decade 100 Ninja like anniversary guide. It's a 10th anniversary guide for the manga.
Okay.
It's got anime pictures, but it does say it's for the manga, whatever. It's by Kishimoto, all that. I basically said before that it says Jiraiya has ninjutsu that like it surpasses the 5 great nations or something like that. Ran through ChatGPT, and what it says is that his like techniques made other ninja from other countries tremble since the times of Great War.
Okay.
So I mean, it's a little bit like this statement's way more vague and less direct than that other statement, which kind of matches up. I don't know how much you know, or like, you know, people listening know about like the Japanese language versus the English language, but the Japanese language is a lot more.
I'll be funny. I'm very intrigued to understand the correlation with all this, because right now they've just been talking nothing about just the Sannin versus the 5 Kage. So I'm very curious to see where the correlation eventually leads and ends up to Nagato.
More vague than the English languages. Like there's not a lot of specific phrases for some things. So yeah, I mean the statement being way more vague definitely matches up with that.
Yeah, it's a lot more like context heavy. Like it's not as explicit as English. Like you have to kind of like look at what, like you definitely have to like look at what it's pertaining to, like very specifically. You can't just make like blanket statements from it. The whole like it's very different. Just like I said, yeah.
Yeah, that's why like if someone was to take like a specific sentence out of a manga page and translate it, it might come out really weird. But if you throw like the whole page up there, okay, maybe the translation is gonna come out a lot more accurate. But yeah, it's really way more context based than English is. So I mean, that's pretty much all the like debunks and things we need to go over. That's more so like correcting mistakes and then like making it to where we can actually set the stage to give our own scaling and opinions on the Sannin.
Okay.
I'll let you start out with that because I've been rambling a lot with these debunks. So you can start with whatever Sannin you want. Pick and go.
I mean, so, you know, I'll start off by saying, because there's a couple different ways you can approach the Sannin from a lore aspect, from straight up beats. We could talk about lore in a second, but, you know, starting off to kind of have a base mark, we do see that, like, Four Tails Naruto is a pretty big, like, comparison towards the Sannin. We have Orochimaru, or not Orochimaru, well, Orochimaru, yes, but Jiraiya, who verbatim states he almost died to a weaker Four Tails Naruto, because that's not, like, Shippuden Naruto.
Got to the point where she wasn't eating anymore. I spent countless nights sleeping on the floor next to her bed.
Cool beans.
Like still him when he's training, so you may argue like his body isn't fully developed or not able to like retain that much chakra.
Weakens over time.
Yeah, exactly. So you know you have that, and then you have Orochimaru who's also like stalemating this Four Tails Naruto. Now his performance, you know, some people argue it around, but essentially like Four Tails Naruto's like Four Tail Beast Bomb.
I'll be honest, he stalemated Four Tails in a way, but he only really stalemated because of his hacks and regeneration abilities. Like, he technically got the same exact treatment Jiraiya got. Like, he got bitched. You know what I mean? Like, that motherfucker's getting cut in half. He was getting incinerated. He was getting blown to bits. Like, that man got bitched multiple times. So, like, technically it was the same exact performance in Jiraiya. The only reason why he did more better in a sense was because Jiraiya doesn't have regeneration. Orochimaru does. You know what I mean? So
Orochimaru blatantly concedes. If this hits me,
I'm dying.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
It's over.
Through the regen, I'm dead.
100%.
Now,
and Orochimaru.
Just to cut in really quick, I'm gonna let you continue. So Orochimaru does contend with Four Tails Naruto probably a little bit better than we were expecting Jiraiya did. So I want to throw like some kind of context in here because I think the Four Tails is a great place to start with like scaling the Sannin because two directly fought him. So
what's your opinion on pain speed at full power, not holding back, being KCM level since Nagato was that fast? I think it's definitely extremely not out of this world to conclude that pains at full power are KCM in speed. I don't see why not. We see even all the passive pains against Six-Tail Jinchuriki where they're all able to react and fight V2 Six-Tails accordingly, you know what I mean, and react and still fight, you name it. And we do know at least bare minimum that the V2 transformations are at least relative to KCM Naruto. So that you kind of have that stuff, and then you also have the fact, once again, with all the Nagato feats and everything, where he has his red hair and he's basically shown and implied to be at full power now. You know, he was able to just basically destroy KCM Naruto and B, and that Naruto is at fucking full power. You know what I mean? You could maybe argue that he's slightly fatigued, you know what I mean, of his Kurama juice, because he did have a full fight with the Raikage at first, you know? But at the same time, like, it's still just insane and blatant evidence that he is within that ballpark. And then another thing you could also say is even when Nagato's not at full power with white hair, okay, in a fucking crippled ass body, he's still able to fucking beat up KCM Naruto and B, but at least is be equal to them, you know what I mean? He was equal to V2B, equal to KCM Naruto still, and just fighting both of them, bro. Like, it was ridiculous, you know what I mean? So the moment he got his red hair and he was basically at full power, he just shitted on them, you know? Orochimaru did worse. He would have died without regen, but Jiraiya survived and does not have it. That's just my opinion. Okay, I feel you there. It's contentious. People will go all day, every day with that shit of whether who did better, Orochimaru or Jiraiya, but I get what you're saying. But yeah, no, like, you know, no matter what, that's basically what you're working with in a nutshell. Like, we literally see an extremely fatigued Pain You know what I mean? Like, beating up or outrunning, V2 Six Tails Naruto. You know what I mean? The most powerful V2 out of any of them. You know what I mean? With Six Tails. And he's, like, outrunning him in speed and everything. You name it. Does, like, Chubaku Tensei. All this shit going blow for blow. Beats him with his Sealing Jutsu. Then he gets, like, into fucking full transformation. He has, like, 9 tails that's coming out and shit. And then basically Pain's like, man, I didn't expect it to be as powerful. I'll just enlarge it. Like, Pain is ridiculous. And that's, like, him nowhere near his full power. So when it comes down to it, Pain just does way better in comparison and greater. And I think there's definitely a bunch of empirical evidence. There's a bunch of subjective evidence, possibility, you name it, etc. for him definitely at least being relative to KCM1 scaling or being equal to it or being even above it. Personally, me, I think he's above it. But, that's just me. You know what I mean? So no matter what, it's really, really interesting. But he's definitely within that ballpark. That's what you could say for sure. And it's just kind of what you're working with. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, extremely fatigued Pain is over here fighting Six Tails V2 Naruto like it's nothing, not dying, nothing or anything, while fucking Jiraiya and Orochimaru can't do shit to Four Tails. That's enough said, And they're at fucking full power.
When Jiraiya first fights the Four Tails, we know Jiraiya obviously does not want to kill Naruto. He's trying to place a seal tag on his head. But Naruto does do massive damage to him. And it's not like Jiraiya had to take the hit or anything. I highly doubt he would have done something like that. So
he got hit. Fair game,
Jiraiya's trying to place a seal tag on him. Orochimaru is probably just trying to put him down, right?
Yep.
And Naruto almost kills both of them.
Orochimaru was trying to kill him, and he couldn't do shit.
His Jiraiya, and obviously the Nine Tails attack is like poison, right? And so not only did Jiraiya have to deal with the poison aspect, but then like the blunt force of the Nine Tails attack as well. And then when Naruto hits Orochimaru, I get a lot of people ignore this because Orochimaru has crazy regeneration, right?
Yep.
Naruto cut him in half. Like, he's got regeneration, sure. He's got endurance, but his durability, Naruto cleaved him in half. Like, left hand or right hand, whatever, swiped him right in half. So it is pretty consistent that Naruto or Four Tails Naruto can like run through SANNIN with the amount of AP he has. At least if you think Jiraiya and Orochimaru are like comparable in durability just because of the SANNIN stuff. But you can continue with what you were saying.
No, that's a really good point. You actually encapsulated a lot of my thoughts. It's just that this you were spinning, you were cooking. I had to let Chef cook. And when listen, what we kind of have like Four Tails Naruto, he's like this benchmark. Whether or not you think this is like base Sannin to like their full power, Jiraiya with Sage Mode or like Orochimaru's 8-headed Hydra form, that's a little bit different of like a discussion. You could concede that like they'd be a little bit stronger. At least in Jiraiya's case, Orochimaru's a little less quantifiable for like his 8-headed Hydra form. All we know is that it's stronger. We don't know by how much. It doesn't help that like it's kind of like featless almost, because like pretty much he got paired up against like the worst person he could have ever gotten paired up against. So we don't really have anything for that. But the Four Tails, at the very least, to the base Sannin tier, like is very threatening to them. Is capable of.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 is the number one
reason
to go to the...
reminded me of something. That's another thing. Like, Orochimaru, and you let me know what you think as well, Ken. Orochimaru literally can also still use that form. You know what I mean? He could still use that form when he's fighting Four Tails Naruto. Yet he never chooses to, and he never does. And meaning further proving that even his strongest form would not be enough to beat Naruto. You know what I mean? Like, Jiraiya, like, doesn't even go to Sage Mode, you know what I mean, in order to like contest against Four Tails. Now, I'm gonna be honest, if Jiraiya could be able to get a seal tag on Naruto, be able to suppress him, you know what I mean, without even Sage Mode, that is impressive because it clearly shows, blatant equal or relative scaling to each other. But so if Jiraiya was in Sage Mode, he could definitely be able to land a ceiling tag probably without even getting hit, at least to Four Tails Naruto, or just be equal to Four Tails Naruto bare minimum. But bottom line is with Orochimaru, the fact that he still has that ability, he could use all his jutsus, you know what I mean? He could still use his shit. He can use summoning, like we've seen Orochimaru use all his shit. He doesn't even do that. I mean, further concluding that even their strongest forms doesn't help, Jiraiya is probably the only one that would actually benefit the most from his next form. But at the same time, you know, it's really, really hard to conclude whether or not if Jiraiya could be able to beat Four Tails Naruto in Sage Mode. We just really just don't know, you know?
This should also extend to Tsunade as well. I cannot see a reason like it really wouldn't. And again, the big problem with Four Tails Naruto is like the durability aspect to it. And we're going to come back to this later. But if this kind of extends to all three of the Sannin, it is kind of a big problem. But you wanna pick up from that?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously that's just base Sannin scaling. We have the higher form Sage Mode, Byakugo Seal or 100 healings, and then we have the 8-headed Hydra. So the scaling for those is a lot more weird. I know specifically it's a big debate amongst people whether or not Orochimaru is equal to Jiraiya in Sage Mode or he's equal to Jiraiya in base. I'll just give my opinion on it really quickly. You can follow up if you want to or not. So
yeah,
I think that since the statements in Databook 1, far before Sage Mode is ever introduced, it's probably talking about base to base. Both of those two are comparable.
Yep.
And then the 8-headed Hydra and Sage Mode are maybe just comparable amps. And, you know, they all get equaled out again whenever they go into their higher forms. Now, Pain's statement I'm going to bring up about, you know, all the three.
Exactly, Ken. Like, you know, like, is it that simple?
All the Particle 3 have, like, weird powers. That's not directly indicative of them being equal amps. But I do think that it's like it's speaking to something.
Ken Rock, brother, if you want to come along and join some reactions and whatnot, and you name it, just hop into the Discord server and the voice chat. We can just go from there. But it's up to you, man.
Something when he says that when Jiraiya enters Sage Mode, like it probably does. It probably is insinuating that all of those are around the same power or something like that.
Yeah. I agree. I actually agree with that. And there's actually like a narrative element too, because you have like, okay, Naruto and Sasuke who are going to fight like Itachi and Pain, right? Mm-hmm. You have Pain like bodying Jiraiya and his like higher form of power, and you also have Itachi bodying Orochimaru and his higher form of power. So it
they're not wrong though.
Kind of like
I've mentioned that in the intro.
For like Naruto and Sasuke to come in like and win against those same opponents who bodied their teachers and their teachers like stronger forms, you know what I mean? So I think the narrative like also keeps that in play to what you were saying.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that argument. I actually like that a lot. So
yeah,
I do think like, you know, the higher forms are all probably around the same level, and then from there it's just like, well, how does it change? How does the fight between Jiraiya and Pain change if Jiraiya gets 2 more people like around his similar level of power?
Yeah, so it's really interesting because, you know, we see Jiraiya fights like 3 of the less offensive paths to 6A. Now, if you put all these dudes in the field, you kind of have to look.
I'm in the Batcave voice chat, by the way, Ken, if you ever want to join in.
Okay. What is the Sannin's like starter move? Like, what's gonna happen? What does everybody do? Me and Six were kind of talking about this. In my opinion, like he kind of shares this, like we think they start off with the 3-way deadlock, since that's like very in character. They do that a lot when fighting as a group. Not always, but you know that is something in character to do. And you know it would make it easy.
Shh. Can you keep a secret? 9 out of 10 young people are on Snapchat, where they're chatting with friends and family, sharing real
Easier on them as well because they'll have summons to aid them in battle. Jiraiya can do like combo moves with Gamabunta, who can like, you know, shoot toad oil and like he could add fire to it. Katsuyu isn't that crazy in my opinion. Do you want to talk about Katsuyu real quick?
Yeah,
I don't think she's
so.
Like,
Katsuyu, for one, let's be clear. Katsuyu's not gonna be like she was in the War Arc, right? Because in the War Arc, they summoned more Katsuyu than they normally do.
Yep.
Because Sakura and Tsunade were both putting their Byakugo pools of chakra together, and I think they summoned 1/10. So Tsunade is gonna summon like a 20th of Katsuyu max, and yeah, Katsuyu can like help heal.
All right, man, not a problem.
And things like that, but that's obviously only to a certain extent, and if she does it too much, she can run out of chakra really quickly and essentially just like not die but be incapacitated. She'll go into her little like granny raisin form where she's all shrunken up and whatnot, and they never
This man said raisin form, bro. You know who's shot.
show her face in the manga. So Tsunade's got that, and that's like a pretty good medical aspect. But Katsuyu is not all too crazy offensively. She's way more defense. I'll say that, because she does have the acid, and Orochimaru says the acid can melt him, right? I'm not gonna say that that's because he's weakened or anything, because it's acid, not like a straight blunt force blast. So let's just say the acid can weak or melt like full power Orochimaru. It's probably chakra, so then you got like a pain that could absorb it. Obviously you have the fact that the Diva Path could...
We know Pain can actually absorb it because he absorbs literally acid from Sage Mode Jiraiya. So
push it away or make it like a force field or something like that. But Katsuyu's main thing is gonna be like splitting up and then like healing whenever she gets caught or something like that. And then with the whole like summoning thing going on, Pain has his own summons.
Yeah.
That took... How many frogs did Naruto have?
3.
Oh, so Naruto pulls up, right? He pulls up with like on Gamabunta.
Yeah.
He has Gamakito, Mr. Gamakin. I believe Gamakichi's also there, but he just doesn't help. Yeah, and then Monpa on his shoulder.
Yeah.
So technically 6, but 5 are really in the battle.
Yeah. So you got like 5 frogs, and then this time there's 3 summons. The animal path, I'm not gonna say that it's like, going to just wash the summons, but it's a much more difficult battle, especially when one of the other summons that they have there isn't really too offensive. You got like the dog that can regenerate and whatnot. And then if things really get too dicey, Pain can really, really mess up every summon.
Yep.
Like the Diva Path, he can really mess up every summon with like
every
a
single
Shinra
one.
Tensei or something.
One basic Shinra Tensei, while he was fatigued, one-shot them all, bro. That means all Pain gotta do, Shinra Tensei, frogs are gone, slug is gone, snake is gone, bye-bye summonings.
Yeah. And honestly, like, you could even make an argument, the summons, like, for example, like, you brought up the acid, but, like, even in, like, part 1, like, we have...
Oh, shit, the fucking soul-stealing Path of Pain could probably just touch them and steal their souls and shit,
Honda blatantly reacting to the acid. So, like, even, like, the acid's, like, crazy potency, like, properties that could potentially be there. Because some people maybe argue, like, Orochimaru's capping. That could also... That doesn't really, like, make the difference here. I mean, like you said, like, you have Gamahiro and Mr. Gamakin who are, like, comparable to Gamabunta.
That's a really good observation that they made with the acid feat. Because I didn't even remember that. So that's actually really good.
Pain just one-shots all 3 of them, like, the minute the Diva Path enters the fray. Like, it's not really too much of an issue. And it's like, the three-way deadlock, there's a rock, paper, scissors element there, but they do, like, have to be relative to each other to, like, kind of compete with one another. So, and, you brought up the animal path, like, the constantly replicating dog that, like, that jutsu that Pain puts on him, like, that dog's, like, regenerating from, like, the Rasen Shuriken, which is, like, compared to poison. So it's, like, none of the summons, just like how Mr. Gamakin couldn't get around it, it's going to be an issue. And this isn't even talking about, like, the bird or, like, the bull or, like, the rhino or any of those crazy ones.
The chameleon that can go invisible.
Oh, my God. The chameleon's one of the craziest ones. The thing is, right? People don't understand this. Pain did not use the chameleon against Naruto because, like, he's not doing a couple strategies due to Ma and Pa being there. Because Ma and Pa can sense the chameleon. So in this case, he might actually, like, use it. And that would actually be detrimental. Because even if you argue, like, Ma and Pa could sense it, Orochimaru and Tsunade cannot, along with their summons. Yeah. So it's like, there is a big problem with that. Maybe the same...
And the chameleon was able to fucking speed blitz KCM Naruto!
Happens, but it is gonna, like, the animal path is just...
Why did Jiraiya never summon all 3 frogs against Orochimaru? Well, to be fair, like, the question is, can he? You know what I mean? Or would that just be too much waste of chakra and exhaust him? We don't... Like, there's a lot of questions that we kind of have to answer from there, too. But the main reason, because, like, when all the frogs are summoned, they were summoned by Ma and Pa. It wasn't Naruto that summoned all of them. You know what I mean? So maybe Jiraiya could be able to summon all 3. If Ma and Pa can do it, I guess maybe he can, too. But that's a great question. I don't know why he never did. What's it called? I don't know. It's a good question, but it's interesting.
It's going to be so detrimental to the big 3.
Yeah, maybe he could do something similar to like what he did when he was Nagato, where he enters the chameleon and then shoots a Shinra Tensei from inside so they can't see him.
It's crazy. Yeah, and the chameleon, like...
Yeah, that's such a broken combo, bro. Just shooting a fucking Shinra Tensei and you just get hit no matter what. Like, imagine being invisible and you can't be fucking detected and you just get hit by a fucking force out of nowhere. It's like the goddamn force from Star Wars. That's such a broken ass combo, bro.
Naruto's like a threat perception, able to like sense evil intent from Edo Tensei's. Nothing, nada, doesn't even feel it. Like he turns around, he's like, "What's there?" Gets blasted. So it's like that's very indicative of how this that could go, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I think like with this,
and the only reason why Naruto didn't get folded is because fucking KCM durability is absolutely ridiculous. And I mean, it's like some V2 armor type shit, you know? What's it called? But yeah, no, it's the signing over here getting hit by fucking Shinra Tenseis. They're fucked. They're absolutely fucked.
Winning battle, I think everything that we've provided,
especially a full power Pain,
more or less implies Pain is gonna win. And at the very least, it might just be a tie between the two of them, like a long drawn out battle, and then the Diva Path can just come in and clean up if need be. But you know, I think it's more so just gonna be Pain.
That as well, yeah, the insane healing, facts.
Winning that. So the Sannin probably aren't gonna have their summons in this fight. Ma and Pa are probably still gonna be there just because they're on Jiraiya's shoulders, not necessarily helping out off the shoulders like they were with Naruto. But yeah, all the other summons are either gonna die or be incapacitated. So then from there, we were like, well, how do we like talk about Pain attacking the Sannin? Because there's obviously like, okay, divide and conquer, where he splits them up, and then it's like, well, what if he doesn't do that and he just goes for one of them, or he like starts singling them out to take them out one by one? Because Thunder God did bring up to me that how he kind of did that with Jiraiya, where he jumped Jiraiya badly with all 6 paths.
Yeah.
I picked the software engineering program
Just
because
fucking
they pay very
jumped his
well.
ass.
It's a fast-paced industry.
Shut the fuck up.
So I think the best course of action, and it is, I don't think it's stretching it too much either. Because
here's the crazy thing: Jiraiya was in fucking Sage mode when he was doing that shit in the manga, at least. In the anime, he's in base, but in the manga, he's in fucking Sage mode still.
Pain is really smart. The best course of action is probably take out the medic ninja first, take out Tsunade first, so no more healing can occur. So. And Pain also, he hates all the Sannin equally.
Yeah.
Presumably, anyway.
Yeah.
So, take out the medic ninja first, get Tsunade out of there. Now, if Tsunade gets jumped by Pain, what can Jiraiya and Orochimaru do to sort of help her out to where she's not taking on the, like...
They don't do anything. She just gets straight up speed blitz and fucking dead. What you know, and this is the funny part. Let's say somehow, some way, their equal stats are relativity, right? Which is not the case either in scaling. But let's say that's the case as well. Tendo Pain can literally just pull Jiraiya. You know what I mean? Literally just pull him or pull Orochimaru, pull him to not allow them to help. While some of the passive Pains charge at Tsunade, okay, along with Pain summonings and shit, you know. And then literally, the Chameleon could just sneak around and fucking grab... Like, this is what I see. The Chameleon sneaks, grabs Orochimaru, restrains him because it was able to restrain KCM Naruto. So yes, it would restrain Orochimaru. Okay. Tendo pulls Sage Mode Jiraiya away and just like basically throws him either away in the fucking sky or just brings him to him to fight, right? And then next thing you know, then Tsunade just gets absolutely fucking jumped and killed. You know what I mean? Like, just gets slammed, you know? Like... That's basically all he could do. Or, like you said, Ken, planetary devastation, GG. Simple hand sign. Like, that's it. And they're fucking dead. You know what I mean? Like,
full force.
No matter what, bro, it's literally a no diff fight. If you want to give some form of credit to the Sannin, maybe a low diff. If Pain is being in character and kind of holding back to some degree and flexing and then gets serious, you know what I mean? Then maybe a low diff. But if he's bloodlusted, it's a no diff, bro. I don't give a fuck.
So 6 paths at the same time.
Something I could see. Oh yeah. You got this. My bad. I was a good person.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, like to bounce off what Six said, like there is like there is a potential like maybe like Orochimaru like summons like the Rashomon gates to kind of like disturb like Pain's field of vision. Also, I mean, granted, you could make a case like he doesn't know them by the time of part 1, but like, you know, assuming giving him like complete or like his access to his summonings, along with the fact that Sakon has them and is able to summon them, like it's implied in my opinion that he's able to summon them. So he could potentially do that to like obstruct Pain's field of vision, or if he sees them rushing down, he could do it to kind of like isolate some of the pats and like offer Tsunade support. So I do think like they have some options.
If you join along, Ken, there is one video I'm going to be reacting to. And I forgot the YouTuber's name, but it's a video that he made of saying why Kakasu slams Jiraiya. And when I saw that title, bro, I was like, oh, hell no. I'm like, this is some noodle shit right now, bro. Like, that video is going to be rough. I already know when I watch that shit. Because I don't know in what world this motherfucker thinks Kakasu is beating a fucking Sannin.
Another option could be like Jiraiya could have the capability of like using that earth release mud swamp to maybe like trap some of the paths of pain, or like, you know, keep them like grounded. But the problem is with that, right? Like, could the Preta pad just like absorb it? You know what I mean? Because he's like absorbing like the toad oil, and like, you know, it's kind of weird to argue like he just absorbs mud, but especially like with how the jutsu functions, because you just kind of.
I just thought of that though. That's a debate I'd fucking pay for. Or better yet, I'd bet money that Ken Rock would slam fucking Noodles, though. On God, he would slam Noodles, bro.
Think into it. I don't know, but like they do have some options to kind of mitigate this.
Because Ken Rock knows how to piss people off. He knows how to use sophist tactics and rat his ass off if he wants to. And I'm telling you right now, like, my money be on Ken for beating him at his own game, bro. Or just be contentious, but Ken would still slam.
Again, like, it doesn't really solve the outlying issue with like Pain just like overwhelming any of the Sannin like individually. Like, continue what you were saying.
Yeah, so I was gonna approach it from the way that like Pain attacks, say he attacks Tsunade first, like we said, and then Jiraiya and Orochimaru, obviously they're not gonna sit idly by while that happens.
No.
Yeah. What if Pain just blows them away for the time being? Like, he just separates them, blows them away, and then all the paths of Pain jump Tsunade until she's finished, because she used a massive amount of chakra summoning Katsuyu.
Yeah, she could just Nagato. He doesn't even have to do a chaotic Shinra-ten. Chaotic Shinra-ten is fucking overkill. Like, that shit, that's just not even okay. But a normal Shinra Tensei could literally just blast Orochimaru and Jiraiya away, and if you think they could tank that, cool. Maybe Orochimaru, we know he can. If Pain has killer intent, that's still debatable. Maybe Orochimaru would also die from that, because it just takes a certain amount of chakra input and he can be killed. He has limits. But either way, let's say somehow, some way, Jiraiya and Orochimaru can survive from that, okay? You know what I mean? And there's arguments for that. Either, like, if Pain's is fully bloodlusted, you know what I mean? They have to probably just get one shot by it. But if you want to argue, like, oh, well, if Kakashi can take a couple Shinra Tenseis, I don't see why they can't, sure. But then again, the whole situation with Pain and Kakashi was kind of like basically holding back to a degree, to where he wanted to get the intel from Kakashi where Naruto is. But then eventually, Kakashi just straight up told him like twice, like, I'm not telling you shit, I don't care. Like, you don't understand. Nobody in this village would ever betray him. You're an idiot for trying to do that. And then basically Pain literally just like, he's like, all right, fine. And then he basically goes to kill Kakashi. And yet Kakashi could still tank some of them. So, to a degree, not fully, but he basically survives. So there's still arguments you can say for Jiraiya and Orochimaru to survive somehow for Mishima Tensei, but there's also just enough of an argument that if Pain does put a lot of chakra into the Shinra Tensei, that it could also one shot as well. You know, there's scaling arguments, the whole nine. You know what I mean? We've seen what it does to Casey and Naruto. We've seen what it does to Killer Beast. So there's definitely arguments that it could shit on them. Now, for Orochimaru, it's even stronger for him to be able to survive a Shinra Tensei, because he technically doesn't in the game. Like, but to be fair, Pain wasn't trying to kill him; he was trying to recruit him. But Pain does do like a normal Shinra Tensei, and the destruction is insane. It is massive. Like, that man got sent flying across the fucking forest, like so goddamn far, and completely folded and flailing like a goddamn pretzel and shit. You know what I mean? And he still got up and was still alive. So, but then again, that wasn't bloodlusted Pain. That was just more of like Pain flexing, like, hey, bitch, I'm your dad, know your place. You know what I mean? So, meaning, while Pain's holding back, the fact that Orochimaru can at least survive from a holding back Pain at full power is impressive in a sense. It's kind of like Delta to Naruto all over again. So, no matter what, like, you know, bottom line is, even if they survive, whether if they do or not, if they don't, they're dead, right? if they do, they're still going to be sent flying away. Okay? And then basically, fucking what happened is now Tsunade's by herself and she's fucked. You know what I mean? Fucked. You know? And yes, Ken, no, that's another thing. Like Orochimaru could just heal any of the broken bones or damage. Exactly. Jiraiya would be fucked, but Orochimaru would be okay. But yeah, overall, like, that's kind of what you're working with. But once again, there's just so many ways Pain could do it. Pain could fly in the air and grab Tsunade and just fucking beat her up in the sky. You know what I mean? Like imagine that. Yo. I got this win con. Imagine this, Ken. The Diva Pass flies, like, goes at full speed, grabs Tsunade's throat, you know what I mean, or whatever, and goes. The bird takes all the other passive pains in the air, you know what I mean, and they fly up and they're just jumping her in the sky. You know, or fucking the summoning pass is on the bird, and Tendo Pain grabs her throat and brings her all the way in the sky, and then literally, like, he summons all the passive pains from the ground all the way in the air, and they're just jumping her shit. Yo, oh my god, that shit would be fucking hilarious. But yeah, no, like, there's just so many ways Nagato could do it, bro. So many ways. I could write a fucking a whole video on how Pain kills the Sannin. You know?
And then, like, presumably healing, right?
Diva does to the Sannin what he did to Hinata. Yeah, that too. You know what I mean? Like, you just grab him, one of them, and just fling him around the air, and then just slam into the ground.
From any attacks that may have come in between there. So she's already used a massive amount of chakra. How does she combat Pain when he not only beat Jiraiya in the main timeline? He beat Jiraiya in the main timeline, and he can, like, somewhat keep up with Naruto, and now he's got access to all of his jutsu, like, you know.
What if you could do SEO smarter and faster? With Wix, you can edit your meta.
Chibaku Tensei, he's got Shinra Tensei now because it's now on cooldown from the big Shinra Tensei that destroyed the village. How does Tsunade even put up a fight against this? He's got chakra rods to disturb her chakra supply and how it flows.
Chakra rods. Chakra rods are also a GG instantaneously because if it hits the right spots, they can't do any chakra. It literally completely negates Naruto's 9 tails fucking chakra pull, bro. Imagine what it does to someone's normal chakra pull. It can literally negate and immediately seal V2 fucking armor chakra. Like, those rods are insane.
So, I mean, I think the attacks blows Jiraiya and Orochimaru away and finishes off Tsunade like that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it honestly, like, it is a big problem for the duo because a lot of people don't understand, like, why the Diva Path not being present against Naruto made such a difference. Like, Naruto is only able to do so well. Yeah, he had intel, but, like, the Diva Path was, like, out of commission for 4 or 5 chapters. It's actually a ridiculous period of time, which kind of allowed Naruto to, like, single him out, and even then he lost. If you kind of throw him in, it's very easy for him to, like, remove one of the other Sannin from play, or maybe suck both of them in, especially if they have no real intel on how the ability works. Because it's not like they're Kakashi with their fighting style where they're going to lead with clones or anything like that. No, they're just going to kind of fight in this case. So I think it is going to be, I don't want to say like easy for Pain to separate the Sannin, but there is options he has in that like regard. It also doesn't help that like they dominate Sagemo Jiraiya pretty handily in physical combat. Human Path's like blinded and a smoke bomb, and he's still just blatantly like bodying Jiraiya hand to hand. So it's kind of like, okay, is Tsunade really gonna do that much better? Granted, you could probably make the case that she's you know, stronger than Jiraiya. Maybe like the Pain wouldn't just be able to catch her palm or something like that. But it's more so speaking to that, like, her like pure taijutsu shouldn't be enough to like overwhelm Pain, or at least I can't see it. Like, even if she does like some of her larger scale attacks, again, I can't really see it being to the point where like Pain couldn't just jump out the way like every other character.
That's what I was gonna bring up. Like, Tsunade
once again, Diva Path charges Tsunade like he did with Ashura to charge at her to kill her. He literally grabs her by her fucking throat, flies, she tries to punch him, he dodges it, stabs that bitch with a fucking rod to immediately calm her bitch ass down. All the Pains go in the air, whether they're summoned or on the fucking bird, whatever the case may be, you know, and then literally they just start jumping her shit and she's dead. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Larger scale attacks, like her heavenly kick or whatever it's called.
And the chakra rods from Pain would turn off Tsunade's 100 seals as well, by the way.
Sure, they hit harder, but they also have larger wind-up times. Like, to the point where in part 1, Tsunade was doing those massive attacks on Orochimaru and Kabuto, and even though Kabuto and Orochimaru were like nerfed a little bit, or not Kabuto, just Orochimaru, even though he was nerfed, he could still like just get away from Tsunade the whole time. Like she couldn't land a single hit on him. So I mean, she does have those big hits, but yeah, like I said, like it's just the a massive wind up time to them. And then after this, he's probably gonna attack Jiraiya. Now, I only say this because Orochimaru is the sneakiest and slipperiest of all three Sannin.
Yep.
So I think it makes sense that he could survive to the end just being sneaky and like using his regeneration to like, you know, where he comes out of his own mouth and all that. So attacking Jiraiya, I mean, I think we all know how that was gonna go. He could.
I mean, like, look. I mean, look, Jiraiya really lost. Like, I don't want, like, look, I'm being generous to Jiraiya, right? Like, he felt. I'll put it like this: he felt the need to retreat from 3 of the less offensive paths of pain. Like, he's like, I straight up can't win. Does his like fastest attack in Sage mode, gets, you know, blocked. Like nothing's working. Giant Rasengan, you know, all that stuff. None of it's like doing anything. He needs to retreat. You kind of throw in like 2 of the more offensive paths, like, bro, like Asura path, you know, pulling up on Jiraiya, blowing his arm off. Now, granted, you know, maybe you could argue he's off guard, or maybe you argue that, like, you know, that he's, you know, his off guard doesn't really matter because his durability is raised to a certain degree because of Sage mode. In which case, like, this really is only like elevated because the Diva path is here. Like, the combos the Diva path can do are pretty absurd. Bancho tending into the Asura path, Bancho tending into the human path, both are equally viable. Or if Jiraiya can ever like catch any of the paths lacking, which he can't. I mean, we literally saw this. Like, he's literally trying. He literally has Ma and Pa smoke screening him and like aiding him in the battle, and he's still unable to make any ground way. So it's like Jiraiya on his own is just not beating like the Diva path in addition to like any of the other paths of pain. If like 3 of the weaker paths are able to react to all of his jutsu, absorb it, and just blatantly handle him in pure taijutsu. It just seems pretty blatant at that.
Yeah, I mean, then if you want to talk about Frog Song, like Frog Song just isn't working on Pain. Not again. He saw Pa and Ma trying to do it again whenever he was fighting Naruto. He just easily, you know, yanked Pa with Universal Pull, stabbed him. It's just not going down again like that. Like, we already gave the interpretation earlier of the Jiraiya versus Pain. You know, Pain, oh, he could have beat us without the secret statement. To say that, you know, and then we give the supporting evidence or whatnot. To say that Jiraiya is not really beating Pain. And then, you know, it comes down to Orochimaru. There's obviously going to be another 1v6 at that point. And Orochimaru at that point, he's pretty much just going to get bullied. I mean, I don't want to take this too far, because I know this is also debatable territory, but Pain probably stronger than Itachi while almost dead, and he beat Orochimaru. So I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there is like there is a degree to this to where like, and the problem with Frog Song too is like it doesn't like, because, you know, let's say like Kishimoto's like writing this fight for whatever reason. I could see a situation where like Jiraiya's like, oh my god, like, we're getting folded, I gotta run away, kind of like he does in canon. It doesn't help the fact that he's basically leaving the battlefield for like his other 2 Sannin to like fight. So it's almost like a detriment for him to go and try and clear this win con. And the fact that they're not like in a closed area might also make it like harder, or like make the jutsu less effective, or like the time at which the jutsu like hits just isn't as quick.
You can't always plan.
But at the end of the day, the only argument you can have for the Sannin is if Nagato's for some weird reason holding back and decides not to kill him instantaneously, okay, and basically, you know, Jiraiya is able to get away and realize nothing's working, they're all gonna die and lose, okay, like in Frog Song, right? If he goes to do that and runs and lands a Frog Song, there you go, GG, right? But at the same time, Pain can also literally hide the path of pain that brings them all back. He can hide him in the chameleon the entire time, and literally as long as he keeps that path of pain, even if the other 4 go down from the Frog Song and the chameleon is away or whatever, then that path of pain could just bring them all back, counterintuitive, and now Pain wins because he knows that Jiraiya has Genjutsu as well. You know what I mean? But like, so it's like, that is like the only way, somehow, some way, there could be a win con against the path of pains, and even that doesn't really get anywhere because Nagato's still alive at that point. But But either way, like, that's the only way. But once again, Nagato, if he's being smart and not underestimating, and especially dealing with 3 Sannin, okay? Like, if he didn't underestimate Jiraiya and was was feeling him out and fighting with only three passive pains just in case, just to be on the safe side, you know what I mean? The fact that he didn't underestimate Jiraiya and have all 6 passive pains, which he still could have done that. He could have had all 6 passive pains and just utterly slammed Jiraiya. But he still didn't underestimate his master. And because it was his master, you know, there was clearly some feelings, you name it, etc. He wanted to kind of talk a bit, whatever, and then just finally kill him. You know what I mean? So, like, but bottom line is, he still didn't underestimate, still tested his abilities and strength and power, okay, just to be safe. So even if somehow, some way he did lose with those 3 passive pains or 1 passive pain, he could still bring him back and then kill Jiraiya. You know what I mean? So, like, no matter what, it's just, there's really no way for them to do it, bro. Like, I really just don't see it. Like, sure, maybe some form of a possibility. Maybe. That's a big fucking maybe. But there's just no way, bro. They're not doing it. They're not fucking doing it. Nagato is very, very smart.
A gun. Rational gun owners carry not because it's a weapon, but because it...
You know, I mean, there's a whole lot of variables in the initial fight.
And what if Pain sends a path after him? Right?
Yeah.
That too.
Like, what if he sends, like, the Asura path, like, just jet rocketing missiles, like, right after him? It's like, bro's not going to be able... Like, maybe he dodges them a little bit, but it's
what
like...
What if Tendo Pain goes out? Like, bro, Tendo Pain's faster than... While extremely fatigued, faster than V2 Six Tails fucking, Naruto. Jiraiya's getting bitched by 4 Tails, bro.
All he really has to do is just kind of like disrupt Ma or Pa. Like, that's all he really has to do. For,
or
like,
you could just fucking pull Jiraiya and be like, bitch, get over here. You're not leaving. Pull a Scorpion. Get over here.
Wasted.
Like, no matter what, Pain just speed blitzes and kills them all. But even if it was equal stats or relativity, they're still fucked.
I mean, it's just like there's no tunnels for him to run in. You got the fact that he could send a path after him. He knows about the jutsu. He stopped it the second time he was going to see it. I think there's enough that just to say that, Jiraiya probably isn't going to get Frog Song off on Pain.
That too, bro. Like, yeah, Pain will probably do that too, just to troll him. Yeah, just in character, just like he did when they first fought. You know what I mean? Like, the Sannin are over here thinking, oh, we won. Or let's say, like, one of the Sannin died, like SANNIN died, right? And it's only Orochimaru and Jiraiya. And they do the Genjutsu and they kill the passive pain. They're like, oh, we won. They get brought back and then they're like, did you really win? And they just get fucked up again,
The second time.
Like, Nagato does that shit in character. He will make sure that they can be all brought back. You know what I mean? It's not going to be some plot fucking device, Naruto, Sage Mode Naruto moment where they're all just right there, you know what I mean? And fucking Nagato's not just going to, do what he should do, that he's literally done against the Jiraiya fight and in the war arc. You know what I mean? Like, Nagato's not a fucking fool. He's not an idiot,
The thing Thunder God said, he's leaving his other teammates in order to go do it if he tries to retreat.
One of the I was gonna say, just like one of the better arguments I might concede for Jiraiya is that, like, maybe because this is kind of a crazy feat. Like, he's able to pretty much, like, I won't say like reverse summoning himself, but he's able to take one of the paths of pain into, like, the Toad stomach while all 6 are jumping at him. So, like, one of, like, the arguments I might concede is that, like, he might be able to, like, take one of them. Now, if it's any of them, like the Diva or Asura, he's just losing 1v1. I'm going to be honest. Like, he's just not beating them.
Yeah.
But, like, he could potentially do that here. But again, that brings us back to our original problem. He's literally leaving his Sannin friends or, like, teammates to, like, fight the rest of the paths of pain.
They're
so
fucked.
It's like, while that is possible, it doesn't really solve, like, the outlying issue, like Frog Song,
Yeah. Is there anything else you really want to go over? I mean, I think we've given a pretty good explanation as to why they kind of just can't win.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, I want to say, like, because I think they would do well. Like, I actually think this would be, like, a really good fight. Like, I think their teamwork would be, like, pretty solid in this case.
I don't think it would, bro. Like, I understand what TG's saying. Like, it's fair. He's trying to give the benefit of the doubt, too, Like, I think that's what it really comes down to it, and played some form of devil's advocate. But if we really just analyze all the juicy evidence, man, it's looking really bad, bro. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, if Nagato's being in character and he's holding back to some margin degree, then sure, it'll be an incredible fighter. Let's say if Kishimoto wrote it, obviously Kishimoto's not going to just write it to where, like, fucking Pain's just, you know, speed blitz one shot, that's it, and fight's over. You know what I mean? Like what he did with fucking Itachi versus Orochimaru, or like what he did in the game with Pain versus Orochimaru. Like, I don't think he would necessarily do that. I do think he would at least write it, and it would be somewhat of a fucking fight, you know what I mean? But at the end, they would just all die. That's it, you know?
It's just one of those unfortunate situations.
Or, if we just take everything with a grain of salt, with all the evidence we have, they just get blitzed and dead. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. Fuck. If it's Bloodlust and Nagato, I don't see him fucking with him.
Where like the diva path is just so much stronger than like everybody else, and like that's just presented in the story, like where like the diva path, you know, it's literally like, you know, he beats Sage Mode Naruto, and then we have like Six Tails Naruto, who's like pretty definitively above the Four Tails, which we discussed earlier. And then like even then, Pain can combat him. Anime kind of extends it, but if you go off manga only, like Pain can combat him, he can like react to him and like, you know, pull rocks and stuff like that. And then like force the Nine Tails to unleash more and more of its power. And even then, I believe he says he's gonna make the Chibaku Tensei bigger. So it's
which
like,
is also something we didn't go over.
Yeah,
Chibaku
yeah,
Tensei.
literally like we can talk about that in a sec, but or if you want to, but it's like it really is just kind of like highlights how much of an animal Pain is, and how like the story progressed, because like literal teams and a whole village needed to like accumulate intel on this dude, only for Naruto to lose and the Nine Tails to kind of bail him out, and then Naruto like stalemate him a bit again with Sage Mode, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, Chibaku
Like,
Tensei.
what does the Sannin do right there, bro? Look at the anime. What do they do? Like, motherfuckers blowing the V2 Six Tails away with Shinra Tensei, like using Universal Pull to block things, throwing rocks at him, pulling him with Chibaku Tensei, you know what I mean, blocking all his little Dragon Ball Z ki blast and shit, like, and you know what I mean, spamming all his abilities, and then and capitalizing on Chibaku Tensei. What the fuck do they do against this shit, bro? Like, they're fucked.
It's an obvious GG. Like,
It's just
they're dead.
Unless you believe like the Sannin can do what Itachi, Naruto, and Bee did in the war, which like they do not have attacks on that level to like blow it up. And even then, like, you know, you could make some arguments, but yeah, they don't. No, I feel like that's pretty that's not debatable. I feel like most people would be like,
hell no.
Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else to say. Like I said earlier, I think we've given a pretty good reasoning, pretty good explanations as to why the Sannin kind of can't beat Pain. I just know like a lot of people have been asking me for this, and you know, why not do the video? But yeah, that's pretty much it. Obviously, go subscribe.
Incredible video. I'm gonna definitely like this video because this video was fucking fire and absolutely great. They did a great job. What's it called? If I was being really stingy and being a dickhead, you know, nitpicky, because even my shit ain't perfect, you know, whatever. 9 out of 10. But if I'm just going based off of everything, the presentation, all the arguments, you name it, etc., even the transparency, no bias, no bullshit. They even did some forms of devil's advocate or given some form of benefit of the doubt for the Sannin and shit, you name it. 10 out of fucking 10 video, bro. Like, fan fucking tastic. The only reason why I would say like a 9 out of 10 is because I feel like they could have just like gave just maybe a little bit more in a very short and concise way too. Like, it didn't have to be this long, but they could have gave a little bit more of a short and concise way of like why like they just get slammed badly, you know what I mean, and just be more comical basically. But better than that, it was incredible, absolutely incredible. You know, if I just remove that and there'll be a fucking Grinch of, you know, reacting to videos and shit, fantastic. 10 out of fucking 10 job, you know what I mean? So great video, great job. Once again, shout out to TG, shout out to Six. Make sure to check them out, guys, you name it. I hope you guys enjoy this reaction. It's already as long as it is, so I'm going to end it here. Make sure to leave a like. Comment your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think of the Sannin versus Pain 1v1 wise, or 1v6 wise, or 3v6 wise. So let me know what you think overall. And as always, subscribe for more content. Subscribe, you guys, to the channel. We're about to hit 500 subs. Pretty goated. And then obviously the next goal is to get right into 1,000 and to keep going on and on and on and just enjoy life and have fun with this shit. You know what I mean? It's all about the passion and love. It's really not really about subs or anything like that either. You know, whatever. It's just basically doing what we love at the end of the day. And that's what matters most. I could have fucking -2 subs, or I could have fucking 20 million subs. I don't give a damn. I'm not here for that bullshit. And I don't give a fuck who it is, whether if it's Swag with 1 million subs, or fucking, you know, or a guy with 1,000 subs, or TG with his 15, whatever. All that's irrelevant. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, you see Six with 80, or you see Swag with 1 million, you see TG with 15, or you see Jay the Great with, you know, his amount, whatever. All that shit is absolutely irrelevant and redundant. It doesn't fucking matter. They're all goats. They're all incredible. They all are doing this because they have the love and passion. And most importantly, they're extremely competent Naruto scalers. and just have all the love and passion for anime. That's what matters at the end of the day, and just not being dicks to each other. You can have fun, you can roast, whatever, this and that, or have disagreements, this, whatever, blah, blah, or be competitive. But at the end of the day, it's all about the love and passion for it. That's what truly matters. You all are goated. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe, please. All of you are watching my videos and shit. I have people from TG, Six, Jay the Great, even Swag, etc. People that are sub to those motherfuckers that are watching my shit. I can see it in my fucking statistics on my YouTube video. It literally tells me like the people that are watching my shit and from what YouTube channels they're from. I have that information. You guys are being dickheads. Subscribe. You know what I mean? What the fuck we doing? But anyways, I love you all no matter what. And you guys in the vibes. Batman out. Peace. All right.